Florida State visits Virginia Tech in a Thursday night clash. This used to be a huge game every year, oftentimes for supremacy in the ACC. Virginia Tech down a little bit this year. Florida State playing great, but has the one blemish on their record. This is only the second time all year Florida State will be traveling outside of the state of Florida. Chuck Edel, your thoughts on this game?
Yeah, and you mentioned the time when they did travel outside of the state. They lost to North Carolina State. They are 0-3 this year against the number on the road. They had a win against South Florida, not a very convincing win, right. And then they played at Miami of Florida, a game that you would think they'd want to keep the foot on the gas pedal. They didn't, I think they won by 12. Miami of Florida got a late touchdown there. Virginia Tech has played well at home, but it's been a little bit of an inconsistent year. Logan Thomas has been, a lot of turnovers, and that's been part of their problem.
VR?
Odds makers were real high on Florida State coming into the season, and I think they're still high on him as far as talent goes. I don't know too many guys that adjusted their power ratings too much because of that loss to NC State. I mean, this is a team in Florida State that very easily could be in the national picture mix if, of course, they won that game. As far as the odds makers are concerned, obviously the pollsters aren't going to let them play even if they ran the table. Everyone wants Alabama, Oregon, even Kansas State before they'd go to Florida State. But with that said, I think this team's loaded. And the fear I have about fading them in this spot is the fact that here's their chance in front of a national audience to get some style points. And even though with Virginia Tech being down this year, they're still the program. It's still Virginia Tech.
Right.
And the fact that Florida State has this opportunity to showcase when they're not high on the pollsters list, but high on the odds makers list, they're not 14 points by accident. That's how I look at it.
I would agree with you, and I would say this, that I don't think the odds makers have adjusted Florida State that much. I think because I'll tell you the truth, I run some different metrics. They're off the charts. They're actually higher than Alabama.
Exactly.
In a lot of ways. But like Chuck said, they do have those 3 road losses against the spread. One, of course,
I still have them like 4th or 5th on my sheet.
I have them pretty high. It's probably right around there.
I have them above Notre Dame and above Kansas State.
Their defense might be better than all of them. Offensively, sometimes they struggle. And there's 2 things to look at here. I think this is Virginia Tech's Super Bowl in a way because they're having a bad season. And on the other hand, like you mentioned about Florida State looking for some style points, I'm a little nervous for Virginia Tech offense having to go up against that Florida State defense.
If the quarterback tries to do too much, because coming into the season, Heisman hopeful talk, and all of a sudden he's
been disappointing.
Exactly, and I'm afraid he's going to try to do a little too much in front of a national audience, and against this defense, that could be dangerous.
Well, right now, I do like Virginia Tech. I'm going to take the points. I think it's still a strong home field. I'm looking at they beat Georgia Tech when Georgia Tech was a lot better. They beat Bowling Green 37-0, a team that's come on since that time. They've been in and out, but I still think this is a quality team that's going to come up big on TV in front of a home crowd. Okay, we've talked about it. Let's go ahead and make it official. I'm going with Virginia Tech plus 14 points over Florida State. That's my free pick. I think it's still a strong home team against the Florida State team that's been a little iffy on the road. Listen, I know Florida State's great. I have a ton of respect for them, but there's a lot of points to give to a quality program like Virginia Tech.
Do you know what a Hokie is?
I do not.
Hokie?
I see the mascot, but I'm really not sure. What is it?
Okay, I thought he was going to enlighten us. I know.
Me? Come on.
We'll get a lot of emails on that.
I've had that question before, and I know I've answered it. Now I don't know. That's why I'm asking you.
Well, VR is going to enlighten us. In the next game coming up, we have the Colts at the Jaguars, and VR is going to give us his pick on that. And just a reminder, you can see all our videos at pregame.tv.